Good evening. This is Tuesday, October 28th, 7 days until the 2008 presidential election. The only metaphor that might possibly be more apt if it had been that Senator McCain's car had run out of gas. Our fifth story on the countdown. Instead, the vehicle that the Republican nominee had been riding in this afternoon got a flat tire, while the bus carrying the reporters who cover Governor Palin broke down on the side of the road. Never mind the McCain campaign's ability to deal with weather. Because it was raining today in Pennsylvania, the Republican ticket canceled an outdoor joint event in Quakerstown altogether. We're not talking a hurricane, merely that they would have gotten wet. The Phillies and Rays, they ain't. Senator McCain now trailing, albeit narrowly, in 10 so-called red states, each of which voted for President Bush 4 years ago. According to the latest survey from the Pew Research Center, Senator Obama leading by 4 points in the 2004 Republican states of Colorado, Florida, Indiana, Iowa, Missouri, Nevada, New Mexico, North Carolina, Ohio, and Virginia. Last week, Senator McCain having enjoyed a 7-point lead in those 10 states. The week before, it had been McCain by 10, margin of error on all those numbers, plus or minus 6. In the hotline poll, 17% of those surveyed having already voted in states that have early voting. Among them, the candidates are virtually tied, Obama 48, McCain 47. Senator Biden, meanwhile, picking up the pace with multiple appearances in the battleground of Florida at a horse farm, the Democratic running mate going with a thoroughbred racing metaphor.
It's great to be here with you all in a county that has produced a Triple Crown winner affirmed, and I think Florida's going to produce another winner again here. Because how you go goes the nation in all probability, you know.
The last Democratic winner winning in Florida, President Clinton, making plans now to join Senator Obama for joint events there later this week. Some Republicans declaring the Sunshine State already lost. Florida Governor Christ, a Republican, obviously once on the McCain short list for VP, today extending early voting there to 12 hours a day from 8 in order to meet demand. One plugged-in Republican telling Politico's Ben Smith, quote, he just blew Florida for John McCain. Christ saying today, quote, this is not a political decision, this is a people decision. Meanwhile, 9,000 showing up, people that is, to see the top of the Democratic ticket outside Philadelphia in spite of the rain that continued there. Senator Obama in jeans, sneakers, and a rain jacket saying, what's a little rain when the White House is at stake?
In this last week, we cannot afford to slow down or to sit back or to let up. Whether it's rain or sleet or snow, we are going to go out and we are going to vote because it's too much at stake.
Meantime, warm and dry indoors at Hershey, PA. Senator McCain claiming victory in that blue state battleground of Pennsylvania.
My friends, it's wonderful to be back in Pennsylvania, and it's wonderful to fool the pundits, because we're going to win the state of Pennsylvania. My friends, we're going to win it on November 4th. And you're going to get out the vote, and we're going to win.
It's pundits. The Republican with a new twist on his effort to label his opponent a socialist because of the phrase, spread the wealth. Senator McCain making it sound as if he would be abolishing the tax system altogether himself.
Senator Obama is running to be redistributionist in chief. I'm running to be commander in chief. Senator Obama is running to spread the wealth. I'm running to create wealth. Senator Obama is running to punish the successful. I'm running to make everyone successful.
In what will not be described as a success for the McCain campaign this morning, his economic advisor, Douglas Holtz Blackberry-Eakin, admitting in a conference call with reporters that the health insurance people currently get from their employers is, quote, way better than the health care they would get during a McCain administration. At an afternoon stop in Harrisonburg, Virginia, where the last Democrat to campaign for president was Stephen Douglas, Senator Obama seized on Holtz-Eakin's admission.
This is the point I've been making since Senator McCain unveiled his plan. It took until the last 7 days of this election for his campaign to finally admit the truth. But better late than never.
Time now to call on our own Howard Fineman, senior Washington correspondent for Newsweek magazine, joining us tonight from Chicago, where he has been covering Obama headquarters. Good evening, Howard.
Hi, Keith.
The McCain side of things first. Why cancel an event, even if it's raining, when you are behind with only 1 week left to go, even if you think that you're going to get this miracle victory in that pivotal state of Pennsylvania?
Well, Keith, maybe I didn't ask the McCain campaign in time, but I didn't get a response as of airtime. And it's doubly mystifying because John McCain seems to have an almost mystical faith in Pennsylvania. As you pointed out, it's the one blue state where he's campaigning and campaigning hard in hopes of taking one away from Obama. But I've spent a lot of time in Pennsylvania, not counting the Phillies game the other day. And, you know, it seems pretty solidly in the Democratic camp. I think there's going to be a big turnout for Obama in Philly and Pittsburgh. It's going to be very hard for McCain to win. But McCain is working the rural areas and the smaller towns. He needed that appearance today, it seems to me.
Hey, at least you got to see a game that had a final score. This line, and I have to read it off the paper here because I can barely pronounce this word. Redistributionist in chief. This attack from McCain. What's the alternative to being a redistributionist? Do you have to throw away the Constitution, the idea of federal government, and the budget process altogether, so no money is redistributed at all? Or did the economic collapse already do that for Senator McCain?
Yeah. Well, the fact is a lot of what the Congress and the federal government does is redistribution. There are winners and losers all the time. That's what I cover in Congress when I'm not on the presidential campaign trail. But what McCain is doing is trying to use the big tax and spend liberal label on the Democrat, just as Republicans have done for decades, if not generations. But Barack Obama has been very shrewd from the beginning of this campaign, going back to the launch almost 2 years ago, crafting a plan that talks about tax cuts for most Americans, 95% of the American people. And if you look at the polls, Keith, Obama has sold that pretty successfully. And if John McCain was going to make this the issue of the campaign, he needed to have done it months ago. The fact that he's coming to it this late doesn't help him any, but I can tell you that the Obama people are concerned. They're repeating their ads about how Obama wants to cut taxes. When Obama gives his half-hour information special on Wednesday night, he's going to talk a lot about taxes and tax cuts. And the Obama campaign's not eager to highlight the likelihood that the Democrats are going to get huge new majorities in the House and the Senate, because to some Americans, some swing voters, especially those so-called soft Republicans who are left to be gotten, they don't like the idea of a big, overwhelmingly Democratic majority in Congress. Obama doesn't mention that on the stump most of the time. What
are the reactions in both camps to stuff like the Hotline poll that came out of early voters, that it's a 1-point margin? Is that expected? Does it have anything to do with early voting? Should we expect the race itself as a whole to tighten, and to tighten to that degree?
Well, in talking to the Obama people today, they do expect the race to tighten some. But now's when you look at the Electoral College, not just the horse race numbers. I think the early voting is an interesting question. Traditionally, Keith, when we used to call them absentee ballots weighted heavily Republican because Republicans were more systematic, voted earlier. The Democrats typically show up late, keep the polls open in the big cities for them to vote late. I think that's changed some because Obama's focused on early voting, and the Obama people I talked to today were very happy about the fact that Governor Frist in Florida had decided to extend early voting. I think it does indicate it's going to be a closer race in the pure horse race numbers than some of the polls have shown. As one Obama guy said to me today, look, McCain's not going to end up with 42%. It's going to be a lot higher than that.
Howard Fineman of Newsweek and MSNBC in Chicago for us. If you stay there long enough, a World Series game will probably come your way because they're going to wash out everywhere else. Thank you, Howard.